Hello, hello. How's it going? We're going to talk about today our new hardware. All right, so let's get things going. Yeah, we're going to be talking about inFlow hardware, which is super exciting because we actually have an updated version of our smart scanner. We're also working on printers as well too. I mean, that's a whole other subject, but I like to put that out there because I feel like the more I put that out there, the more more likely it'll come to be and the faster it'll come to be. I like mentioning that too. Let me know in the chat as well if you'd be interested in inFlow printer too, because that's always helpful. And we'll talk about it a little bit maybe in the Q&A as well. So just a little housekeeping stuff. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat there. We will have time at the end, like I mentioned, as a Q&A. Now, here's the thing. You don't have to just ask about hardware. You can ask about anything you want to ask about, well, preferably inFlow related, but hey, we'll take any kind of questions. You have Phil and Curry on the call today as well, so they're very knowledgeable in all things inFlow, and I'll let them introduce themselves in a second as well. So let's do that. So in terms of a quick intro, my name's Matt. I've been with inFlow for about 11 years now, and I take care of partnerships and any kind of hardware stuff. So that's what we'll be talking about today. Phil, go ahead if you want to do a quick intro as well.
Cool. Hey everyone, my name is Phil. If you have reached out to support, I have probably talked to you at some point. I have been here. This is 4 years now, so going on. But I've also been in a lot of the webinars and stuff like that. So you may have seen me around before. So always love hearing from you. Always love helping out.
Very cool. And Kiri.
Yeah, beautiful. I'm Kiri, guys. I'm part of the onboarding/retention team. Started off with support, so work really closely with Phil, but we're always working with Matt too for pretty much everything. Yeah, I've only been here for about 6 months. I may have had an onboarding session with some of you, possibly. But yeah, we're here, and this is my second webinar since being here, so super excited to be a moderator this time around.
Awesome, very cool. And I'll just answer a quick question. Mario's asking, did the scanners ship yet? Because yes, and I apologize, they were on back order. We were anticipating them to actually arrive mid-October, but as is logistics these days, it's hard to predict when something's happening and delays. But the good news is the new scanners have arrived into our US warehouse. Actually, they should have arrived yesterday, so they're just being checked in, and they're shipping this week. So you will get yours very, very quickly if you've already placed that pre-order, and if you're placing a new order, we're shipping this week as well. So to get things started, let's start off with the basics. What is a smart scanner? And what's interesting with our new smart scanners, they're actually updated to Android 11. So the previous ones, if I'm not mistaken, were Android 9. Now we're upgraded to Android 11. It has a Google certified ROM, which just basically means that it's an authorized device, that Google's seen the ROM that comes installed with it. But the most important thing, and what people sometimes don't understand, is that there's actually a physical laser scanner built into the device. It's not just another phone. It's not just a ruggedized phone. It's an actual laser device scanner that you can use really quickly in the warehouse and scan your items. So that's kind of what it looks like when you're scanning. There's like a target, so you can see the barcodes that you're aiming for. Now, in terms of the specs, with our new Smart Scanner 3, so the Smart Scanner 2 was last year's model. This year's model is Smart Scanner 3. Physically, it looks identical, which is great because all the previous accessories work with it as well. But there is a bump spec on the processor, so it's faster. It has the same battery, a 4,300 milliamp battery. I've also got word that they have an option now to have a 6,000 milliamp battery. So that's something that we might bring in and offer for sale as well. But honestly, with a docking cradle, you pretty much get all-day battery life. USB-C charging, so there's no proprietary nonsense. There's an IP65 sealing for water, just means you can be splashed. You can even submerge it for a period of time, and it's not going to be harmed. There's also a drop test that it does, but obviously don't be throwing it around. And the other interesting thing is, we've looked at a lot of hardware. We've looked at the competitors. We've looked at different offerings from different factories. And something that was important to us, and you probably understand this too if you use inFlow day and day, like we want to make sure that the aesthetics are great as well, because when you're using something that's like easy to use, looks good while you're doing it, you're going to use it much more often. So what's nice about these scanners is that they're only 13 millimeters thin. They're not these big bulky. I do have some competitor scanners that are like literally bricks that people are just not want to carry around. But these, you can throw it in your pocket, you're good to go, and it's not a nuisance to use by any means. And when I say rugged, we mean that it's actually rugged. So first and foremost, it passed the puppy test. So you throw the puppy at it, you know what? The scanner's going to be perfectly fine. But we figured, that's probably not realistic. What else can we do to test the scanner out? So of course, dropping it, right? It happens. You drop these guys, the screen's not going to crack. Knock on wood. It shouldn't break when it's dropped from 1.5 meters. But then there was also a scenario where this isn't us, but there was another company kind of running some tests with it, and for whatever reason they did some crazy stuff with it, and I figured I'd share just because it's kind of funny. So the first test that he did was throwing it up against the wall. Still worked, no problem. He was doing some target practice too, so it wasn't good enough just to throw it once. He threw it twice or 3 times, really hit that drywall good. Again, not sure why he's testing it like this, but hey, it works. He also wanted to do a dust test, so he took a big bag of sawdust, threw it in there, and of course, you guys guessed, it is still working okay. He wanted to then cool it down, like try to like almost freeze it. So he used a fire extinguisher on it. And hey, guess what? It was still working, no problem. But that wasn't good enough. No, we also had to put it in some pickled tomato vinegar juice, and it was still working perfectly fine. I think he sprayed it then with some hand sanitizer just to see if the alcohol would do anything. And again, no problem there. Wasn't good enough. Figured, hey, you know what? Let's actually freeze it in a bottle of water. And you guessed it, it was still working. They were trying to speed up the freezing process because it wasn't solidly frozen, and he was still able to use it. The battery was still working inside the frozen tub of water. And then, of course, that's still not enough. So we took it. I know when I say we, it's not us. We wouldn't do this, but it was taken and it was thrown out the second or third floor window, smashed on the ground, and you guessed it, it was still working. But again, not enough. So they did the ultimate test, and they basically used it to play hockey. And this is something as Canadians we can relate to. It played goalie. Doesn't make for a good goalie whatsoever, but it does survive playing hockey. And even being the puck itself, it was okay. It was still lasting, still going strong. And last but not least, they had a shower with it because, hey, after hockey, you got to have the shower there. So all that being said, I mean, obviously, hopefully you don't have all that craziness going on in your warehouse, but hopefully it just demonstrates that, it's a good device. You can throw it around, you can beat it up a bit, and it's not going to break. We also offer a full 2-year warranty on it. So if you did have any issues, let us know. We're happy to take care of you and happy to get it working for you. So why might a dedicated device be a good idea for your warehouse, for your jewelry company, for all the businesses that are on here today? So you've probably noticed other big retailers, big box stores, they use these scanners, and there's a bunch of reasons for doing so. In general, they're just faster and more accurate. It's even better than your actual phone. So you can use the inFlow iOS app or the Android app on your phone, but you're limited to the camera of the phone, which is not necessarily a bad thing. The cameras are pretty good, but with the laser scanner, it's instant. You scan it, you're good to go. You don't have to open the camera. You don't have to worry about getting, the positioning right. You target, you press the button, you're good to go. It's also another kind of like workstation for the business. So it lets you have a dedicated device that you can use for your inventory, and you know that it's there as another, basically workstation for your inventory. The other interesting thing too with our scanners, they're actually specifically optimized for the app. So it's not the same experience if you loaded the app onto a cell phone. With ours, we actually know that you're using the smart scanner. So just for example, and we'll see some of this in the next coming slides, but the screen real estate is optimized to make it easier to use when the app knows that you have a physical scanner built in. And just for some, just to show you how it looks too, like there's other accessories as well. So for example, like the pistol grip there. Quick side story: when you're trying to clear these items into customs, don't ever write pistol grip as the description. Customs does not like anything with the word pistol in the description. Ask me how I know. Now they're just handheld grips, right? So, okay, so that sounds great, Matt, fine, but how does it actually work with inFlow? So it's as simple as once you get the smart scanner, you just load up the inFlow app. Once the app is loaded, it knows the hardware device ID. It knows that it's an inFlow smart scanner, so it unlocks some functionality within with the app itself. So, for example, like I mentioned, you get more screen real estate, and you also get a dedicated pick button when you're using guided picking. I'd love to know if anyone's actually used it, because it's pretty cool, and it optimizes for the warehouse to figure out like where you should go for the next item and that sort of thing. I believe, right, Phil?
Yeah, no, for sure. And actually, I don't know if you want to. Maybe we'll take a quick question here. Amy De Los Santos had asked, most products have 2 barcodes, and how can the laser scanner scan only one at a time if 2 of them are close together? I don't know if you wanted to.
Sure, yeah. So when you say, so your own products, just to clarify, your own products have the barcodes close together. So maybe it's like a serial number barcode along with another, like a UPC barcode. Right, okay. So what there's a couple ways of doing that. Generally speaking, once you press the laser of the scanner, you get a target. And as long as that target is on your barcode, you're good to go. I know when I used to work in a warehouse and we dealt with all sorts of items that had serial numbers because it was an electronics company, we would actually just put our hand over the serial number really quickly with your thumb, whatever, or even you just block a partial part of the other barcode, and then it won't scan the other one. So if the manufacturer unfortunately puts it way too close, which they shouldn't do, that's like a whole other SOP best practice thing. But yeah, otherwise you can probably just block and scan, or just target on the main one, and you'll see that it's actually pretty good. It's not usually a concern. So Richard was asking, does this work faster than just scanning with the app on a normal phone? Absolutely, because with the smart scanner with the laser built in, there's a dedicated button. So instead of the app having to load your camera, you having to position where the camera goes to go over the barcode. It sounds trivial, like it's only a few seconds here and there, but if you're scanning a lot of stuff multiple times a day, it adds up, right? If you save at least even an hour for the week, it's well worth it. And Phil there, I like Vanna Phil is demonstrating the the dedicated button there on the side. So that activates the laser trigger right in there. Very cool. And Amy, no, you don't have to log into the scanner every time you use it. As long as inflow's up, you're good to go. There is some sort of timeout with the, I guess, with the inFlow app. I don't know exactly when, but yeah, as long as you're logged into the inFlow side of things, you should be good to go.
Yeah, I believe it's supposed to be something like the app stays logged in for 2 weeks, and then it'll automatically kind of kick you out just for security, and then you'll have to re-log in or anything like that. But yeah, basically once you've got the inFlow app open, it should stay logged in for quite a while.
That's cool. I didn't know it was 2 weeks. That's longer than I expected. So that's awesome. So just for example, so on your normal phone, this is what the screen estate kind of looks like. So there's like a box up top that that has to be there to be able to find the barcode where you have to position it and scan. When the inFlow app knows that you're using an inFlow scanner, there's a little icon in the upper right side, which just means it's like ready to scan anytime. And then it's a matter of, you don't have to align anything. You literally just press the button. You see your target. It's actually kind of fun. Another quick side story. When my cell phone died, I think I dropped it or something, the screen cracked, I couldn't use it. I was actually using a smart scanner as my main cell phone for 2 to 3 weeks before I got another one. And I kind of liked it because I was actually scanning prices or scanning products when I was shopping in like, Walmart or whatever it was, and I was able to, price compare very quickly, right? Instead of having to Google the item name, I was able to scan the barcode, put that onto Amazon, and do a comparison shop right then and there. So kind of a cool feature if you want to use it as a consumer phone as well. Maybe
Sure,
that's just me though. I don't know.
you probably get a few weird looks, or if you're wearing, the blue shirt when you're at Walmart or whatever, and you always get asked for questions and stuff
Does
like
this guy
that.
work here? Yeah. Hey, where can I find the toilet paper or something, right? So here's some of the stuff that if you're not using the inFlow app, regardless if you have the smart scanner or not, we highly recommend checking it out, putting it on your phone at a bare minimum to work with it, because there's a lot of cool stuff you can do. So you can create orders on the fly, you can share them, you can do mobile receiving. So as soon as you get your stuff, you can actually be scanning the items that come in, so you can see if you've been short shipped, which unfortunately happens. Let me know in the chat if you've ever been short shipped by your supplier or by your manufacturer. And it's a frustrating process to have to double count and make sure that everything is in alignment. This helps a little bit, right? You're able to just scan the items coming in and you're good to go. You can easily make product records, and it makes it super easy to add pictures to your products too. So for example, if you don't have pictures of your products, the smart scanner has, just like any other phone, it has an actual camera as well. So you can take pictures of your products and save that to the product record, and those pictures get saved across all your instances of inFlow. So when you're on the inFlow Windows app, you'll see those pictures come up there as well. You can also add barcodes to the products. So in some cases, you might have a different barcode than your manufacturer, and you can actually have multiple barcode fields saved to the same product. Is that right, Phil? I believe that's right.
You can, as long as it's a little finicky, but you have to basically just put a barcode, then put a comma, and then just put your next barcode and a comma, and the app is smart enough to recognize.
Cool. Yeah, it's not common that you'll have multiple barcodes for the same product, but we do have a way of making that making that work. Other cool thing is you can transfer stock or make adjustments in real time. So I saw in here we have like a contracting company. If you have say vehicles that you need to say transfer stock, say you're starting your jobs for the day, you need to move inventory from a warehouse onto the vehicle, the fleet vehicle. Easy way to do that with the mobile device. And you can actually scan, transfer the stock in, so you know where that stuff is going. We also have some companies that will actually use the inFlow Smart Scanner as a cell phone for the staff. So these devices are unlocked. They work pretty much everywhere, and you can buy a SIM card just like any other phone and use it as an actual cell phone too. So if you needed to give your staff cell phones, or you want them to have a device where it's super rugged, so you're not worried that if they drop it or something, it's going to break, you're good to go on that front as well. And last but not least, there's also mobile guided picking, which gives you a step-by-step workflow on how to best efficiently pick the orders when you are putting together a sales order. So we have some quick screens just to check out. I mean, you might have seen these already in the mobile app, but if not, you can see here, like to add stock, it's as simple as clicking the add stock button. There's also picking, and if you hit the button, I think we have a preview of what guided picking looks like, but if you hit that button below there, it'll go into guided picking mode, which is nice. It shows the picture bigger. It makes it a lot easier to do it. This is the receiving side of things. So for example, you start scanning items that come in that you want to add to inventory. Sales orders, similar idea. You create a sales order, you can scan your items in that you want to sell, and they come up right on that sales order screen. Transfer stock, so from one location to the other, or from your main warehouse to a fleet vehicle, you can do that right here. And let's see if we can get this video working. Seems like it's good. Okay. So here's what picking and receiving looks like in action. So here we've just scanned the two items. We hit continue, the order's picked. I know it's going really fast. This is what guided picking looks like. So just pause for a second. So you can see here, it tells you, the location, the quantity, and it gives you that nice picture on the front of, what the item you're looking for, basically. Really nice. And then here's receiving, for example. So you open the purchase order, you just scan the 2 items that you should have gotten, and inFlow's like, yep, order's received, that's all correct. And you're good to go. Phil, anything to add to this? Like, for example, what happens when, say, you're missing something on when you're receiving? Do you get a alert?
Yeah, so I mean, it'll show kind of like the rest of the program and everything, like the little like exclamation mark and stuff. So, and it won't obviously complete like the order because you're still missing something or anything like that. But you don't have to receive everything at one time too. So like if you are getting partial shipments, you can scan in a couple of them and then kind of save your progress and come back to it later.
Right on. Very cool. Okay.
There are a few questions here. I don't know if you want to take a few and then continue.
Yeah. Let's do that.
I think if we go back, then we got Anne had been asking if there was any chance of making sticky notes visible from the scanner. That I mean, at the moment, right now, that's just like that's great feedback, and we'll definitely take that back as like a feature request to pass on to the team. Right now, sticky notes are only visible in the Windows app. They're not even in like our window or our web app. Sorry, in like the web browser. I'm not 100% sure what the plan is for sticky notes going forward. If that is something they're adding to it or not. But that feedback is definitely great, so we will pass it on to the team. So thank you for that.
And sorry, who asked that?
Anne.
And so, Anne, what you could do too is send a quick email to support, actually, or myself. So my email is matt at inflowinventory.com, and give us the use case of how you'd be using the sticky notes on the mobile app. And if you can illustrate how you're using it, and it seems like a lot of other businesses could get value out of doing it the same way that you're doing, that helps us kind of like pitch the developers like, hey, look, Anne has this amazing workflow with the sticky notes. We need to have it in the mobile app. It'll help so many more customers as well. So that really helps kind of like paint the picture of why it's a big benefit. And then it doesn't sound like something that's overly complicated, so we should be able to eventually put that in. But I'd say
Cool. And then I saw Basarath had asked why UPC-A barcodes don't work with inFlow, which, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that they do. I know you can definitely scan them. I don't know if there's any other specifics about UPC-A that might.
Yeah, they should work. That's the first time I've heard any issues with UPC barcodes. I'd say create a support ticket and give an example of a barcode that's not working. We can print it on our side. We can try scanning it. But generally speaking, we can scan, especially with the with our scanners. Like it'll work. Yeah.
Even like the mobile app, when it uses your camera and stuff, I know it can recognize like UPC-A. It can code 128, I think, is really popular. Even QR codes it can recognize as well too. So, and then this actually is probably good for you, but sorry if I mispronounced it. But Jamil had said it would be really great if we had a USB-C scanner to connect to a normal smartphone. So almost like an add-on peripheral or something like that. So I don't know if that's ever been thought of, or if there's any other kind of like an attachment, I guess, that we could do on a regular phone to add some of that functionality.
That's interesting. So we've seen a lot of different hardware stuff. So we've seen even like where there's a scanner on your finger, right? So it's a ring scanner, and you basically like press it on the side to get the scan going. But we kind of played with it, we kind of worked with it, and it just was kind of cumbersome. And the only thing I can think of with the phone and the scanner, then it's like two things you have to hold, which kind of like lowers your efficiency when you're in the warehouse picking and packing, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's still an interesting idea. We do still sell USB scanners that you can connect. And actually, so I'm kind of going into the weeds with this, but we have USB scanners where, say, if you have like a desktop station, you have your Windows computer, you want to connect a USB scanner to it, you can do that. You can scan items at that workstation, and a lot of companies will do that. But now that I'm thinking out loud, you can probably get a USB-C to a standard USB adapter and actually plug in that USB scanner to that. So if you wanted to experiment and if you think that use case makes sense, you actually might be able to do that. But my guess is it's a little cumbersome.
Sure, makes sense. Donald had asked how many barcode numbers can one item hold. If you're separating them with commas, it should be as many as the field can hold. I know it can hold a lot of characters, at least like 128. So it's really just going to depend on the length of your barcodes and stuff. The only other thing too, like you don't want to have too many in there because well, it would make it more difficult to find in like the long run or anything. Like if you have an error with it or something, you're scrolling through this big long list of like all these different barcodes that you have in there, and just the potential for overlap. Like if your barcodes are very similar, then when we're actually like searching for it or something like that, if they're too similar, it may give you the wrong result or something like that. So and again, I'm not sure why you would want a ton of
Yeah,
barcodes for it, but
I was gonna say that too. Like best practice is actually like one barcode per product, especially if you're working with like GS1 GTINs. Basically, you're supposed to, every product has that unique identifier, and that's supposed to be the same from like manufacturer down to the retailer. But I get in some instances where if you're not selling retail or you're not selling to another party, you might have like two, like one from the manufacturer, one for internal use of yourself. Um, Other quick side story is we're actually I just signed the agreement 2 days ago where we're actually working with GS1 to be able to sell actual genuine UPC barcodes for your products. So if you have any products that need to, you want them in big box retail and you need one of those UPCs or you want to sell them on Amazon, we'll actually be able to sell you a genuine UPC barcode with no subscription fees. You're able to buy them as a one-off. But that's, again, side story.
cool. Always good, excuse me, to know future things may be kind of coming. I know Amy also had asked, most products have one or two extra numbers in front of the actual serial number. How do you tell inFlow to ignore the first two numbers and read the rest? So you can probably talk a little bit more about this for the scanner itself, but in terms of the program, like inside inFlow, you can't tell it to ignore, I guess, like barcodes or anything. So depending on how your scanners are actually picking up the barcodes, you may want to include those in your actual products, because then that way when you scan it and it gets those extra couple digits, then it will match up and everything will be fine. Otherwise, there is a nice little trick with the smart scanner that I don't know if Matt wants to talk about a little bit, or I can go into more if you want.
Like removing the first digits on the scanner. Is that what you're going to talk
Yeah,
about? Yep.
yeah, like the settings of the scanner
Yep.
itself. Yeah.
Yeah, depending on your setup. I mean, ideally, I'd say you'd want to leave it like as long as your like in the back end of your product record has all the digits, then I would keep all those digits. I mean, I would try not to set up stuff, but you can do a thing where basically you tell the smart scanner to ignore the first two digits, three digits, whatever you want. But then keep in mind when you're scanning anything, that's going to be the case. So best practice is try to like natively let it scan no matter what. But if you know all your products, you want to ignore the first two, three, five digits, whatever it is, you do have the options to make that happen.
Cool. And just a side note with that too, most scanners, so even like the USB ones and stuff that you buy that you plug into a computer or anything, have some kind of configuration that allows you to tell if there are like prefixes or suffixes that it should ignore, or like how many characters and stuff like that. So you can usually configure that, but inside the actual program itself, you can't unfortunately tell it to ignore something.
Okay, let's get it going. Full transparency, I'm not sure what this video is of, but we're going to hit play together and we're going to find out.
This one looks like it's on picking.
I'm picking, yeah. I think this was just a slowed down version of maybe the guided picking.
Well, I think it's also meant to show kind of how, in this case, like they're scanning an item multiple times and it's just incrementing on the actual picking itself. So it makes it a little easier. Again, if you've got 5 things in front of you, instead of just typing in 5 or whatever, you can actually like scan, and it'll know to just keep incrementing on that order.
Cool. I like that animation of the color progressing. Right on. Okay. Okay, so a lot of people will ask, hey, like, why use the smart scanner versus your own phone? We kind of talked about this already, so I won't dive in too deep with it. But like we mentioned, it's much faster, right? 2 times faster with the built-in laser scanner. I mentioned that you get more screen real estate with our hardware because the app knows that you're using an inFlow smart scanner. Dedicated device for the warehouse. So you're basically adding more functionality where you have a dedicated device, almost like a dedicated another work terminal that you can use for all your inventory needs. And it doesn't cost over $1,500 to replace if dropped. So if you dropped that iPhone, knock on wood, don't do that. I don't even think it's 1,500 anymore. I think the iPhones are like closer to 2. Is that right? I mean, I haven't.
Yeah, well, at least for us here in Canada, yeah, all our smartphones are getting up in like the 2,000 range, which is insane.
Getting crazy. The other thing is, so we've looked at the competition. Like we've looked at all the other. I mean, not all. I'd love to have been able to look at all, but we've looked at the major players for the hardware space. And what we've tried to do and what we've tried to offer is, give you something that's actually not just more affordable, but also more powerful at the same time here. So it's just some of the other ones that are popular. There's some older Zebra ones. There's a WASP barcode one. They're all good. They all work well. But they can be very expensive. There's even some other models, I believe from Honeywell, that like you take the cake in terms of pricing, where you're like well over $2,000-3,000. So for us, we're at $13.99 for our Smart Scanner 3. We have Android 11. Our processor is octa-core 2.4, which is a bump from the previous one. And like I mentioned, it's also nice and thin. Like you actually want to use it. And in some cases, it's actually like half the thickness of, say, the Zebra or the WASP scanner that we have on screen here. I mentioned earlier as well that we have a 2-year warranty. Most standard is just a 1 year. So we like to make sure that we back our products and that they'll work as long as we say that they'll work. So with the inFlow scanner, it's not just the best for inFlow, but we've tried to give you something that's the absolute best in the market. And of course, it's not just about the scanner. There's also some accessories. So like I mentioned, this is the grip, not pistol grip. It is just the grip. That is all. And it gives you that extra functionality of, being able to, it's basically a trigger grip, right? So you'd be able to point, shoot at it. Don't say shoot, don't say trigger in customs, but you get the idea. There's also an extra case that you can get for it, just in case you wanted to add to it. But honestly, the thing is pretty rugged itself that if you dropped it, you're okay. There's a docking station that you can get. And what I like about the docking station is that it can also hold an extra battery. So if you are a super power user and you're going through, a lot of power with it, you can actually have that second battery all charged, good to go. You never skip a beat when you're using the smart scanner. And of course, we have the extra batteries as well if you need one. To be honest, most customers don't need the extra battery. If you're using it all day in the warehouse, it's typically good enough for the device. But I do think having the docking cradle to make it sit like super fast and easy to charge, you just drop it off there. It has a home, so it's less likely that you'll lose it, and you probably don't need the extra battery to be honest. And the other interesting thing is with that docking cradle, it works both with the grip and without, right? So you can actually, it doesn't matter which way you have the configuration. Just some more pictures of how it looks. And
actually, sorry,
go ahead,
to jump in there because Michael had a great comment there saying that swappable battery is a big plus and that employees won't always remember to charge it overnight, which is 100% true. We all forget things, or we're in a rush, or it's 5 o'clock and time to clock out. So having an extra battery can help. Or again, that dock, it's a lot easier instead of having to like plug in the USB spot is in the bottom there, so instead of having to actually just plug in, you can just pop it down, and again, hopefully you will be all set for your next day of work.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, in general, like just to sum up, like software is only half the picture. Having the appropriate hardware really helps get things going more efficiently. And like I mentioned, we're trying to make something where it's not just the best. Our scanners are not just the best for inFlow, but they're the absolute best in the market. that's what it looks like. To actually order, you just go to inflowshop.com. So actually, I'll go there.
I already put the link in the chat.
Awesome. Right on. Oh, by the way, we have a new updated inFlow shop page as well. So you can actually see a little bit more of the scanner in action too. But otherwise, all you have to do is go to here, add to cart, and you're good to go. Shipping is free. If you're based in the USA, we take care of it for you. Otherwise, $25 to Canada or $45 anywhere around the world. And of course, 30 days. If you don't love the smart scanner, we don't want you to keep it. Man, I sound like an infomercial. 30 days, you don't love it, full money back guarantee. And we're here to support you too. So that's it. Infoshop.com and add to cart. It'll say. With that being said, we do have time for some Q&A. And again, it doesn't have to be hardware related specific questions. We're very happy to answer basically anything inFlow related. You have two experts at your disposal here on inFlow. So we're very happy to answer anything that might come up.
Cool. So there are a few from that were already up here. So Jacob, I did see your question. How does multiple barcodes impact the Dymo label? Which is a fantastic question. That is one of the drawbacks, actually. If you are using comma-separated barcodes in there, our Dymo integration, I think, does not know. So essentially, we'd be sending that full like barcode, comma, barcode, whatever, to the label, which is not going to work. So if you are printing labels through the Dymo integration, you would definitely want to only have one in that barcode field. We are also kind of on that topic, because I know I did see somebody else ask, can you connect the scanner to a Dymo printer? We have really good news for everybody that we are releasing in the very near future. We don't have a firm date yet, but within the next month or so, I believe, a completely new label software, essentially, that is from inFlow. It will now work with multiple companies, so you don't have to just have a Dymo 450 or anything like that. It will work with other printers like Brother and Zebra. I know people have been asking and things like that. We've got our own brand new kind of like setup where you can like fully customize how you want your label to look, with this really nice looking preview that you can kind of get everything set up exactly how you want and save your own templates and stuff like that. So I'm super excited for that. I think we're actually doing a webinar for that in the near future too, which I'm going to be on as well. And so that'll be coming soon too. And that should also hopefully help make printing all the labels and everything like that easier as well. So yeah.
I also have to add, so someone, I don't know who coined the phrase, but someone was like, it's not an infomercial, it's an inflow-mercial. But I'm done. Right? I love it. Give that man a gift card. Or woman, I wasn't.
We're not above dad jokes here, you know.
I think it was Steven. Yeah, I think it was Steven that did it. Yeah.
I see Jacob also did have another great question asking, are count sheets available to be done on the scanner? I can't talk all of a sudden. That is actually another upcoming feature that is coming out very soon. We are working on mobile count sheets at the moment to add them to the mobile app. As soon as that is released, that will work both on the scanner as well as just, again, your regular smartphone or anything like that. So that is in active development right now. So hopefully, again, that will be coming in the near future. Again, we don't have dates because, unfortunately, testing and bugs and things like that, it kind of fluctuates. So. Let's see. I see Mario was saying, so we get a discount on the original order plus new one. So I'm assuming he's already pre-ordered one. So yep. I did put your email in there, Matt. So if they reach out, then yeah, they can definitely get that adjusted.
You can reply to the easiest is reply. So if you already placed an order, just reply to your order email, and then I'll get all your details that way. But otherwise, my email is matt@inflowinventory.com, and you can email me direct. But include your order number in there if you do it that way. Otherwise, again, just reply to the original order number, and I believe that goes to me, so I can take care of that.
If not, I'm sure it'll come to us at support, and we can let Matt know and everything like that. And so you can send in all your bad jokes too, and we'll pass them along to Matt as well.
I feel like Steven should get like a $50 gift card for that infomercial comment. I feel like that's we can make that happen. Steven, email me and I'll make that happen.
Let's see. Do we have other questions here? I'm working with a new manufacturer, evaluating software. Am I looking at the right software? I mean, I think we would all agree that I mean, you've got a whole bunch of people in the chat here as well that I believe use our software. Again, we do try to kind of cover everything, where it's a very broad software that can cover a lot of different industries. So depending on what areas and everything that you want, we have a fantastic sales team that would love to actually go over like a demo with you and everything, and they can find out more about your business. So definitely hit up our website, reach out to us, and hopefully we'd be a good fit for you. Little Star Wilburn was the name on there.
Yeah.
I see Basarath had also asked when that option for the printer coming. So the software, again, I believe within the next month. It should be coming pretty soon. In terms of an actual printer, that would be more on Matt's side, and I have no idea.
Yeah. So printer, just to share a little too much. So we're gonna be if all goes according to plan, we're gonna be offering two types of printers. So one is a 4-inch, kind of like a shipping label printer that you can use, and we're also going to be offering, just by popular request, we actually surveyed a bunch of customers way back when, and people wanted a mobile printer. And with the mobile printer, it'll run on a battery, and it'll probably print maximum, I think, 2-inch labels, 2 or 3-inch labels. And yeah, you can be in the warehouse printing labels right then and there, putting them on as you need it. And that was just from popular requests from customers. So there'll be two different printers. One a 4-inch, kind of like a shipping label printer, and another one mobile, where you have a battery pack and you can kind of take it any which way you want to go. And if you're interested in those, again, shoot me an email, and yeah, I can put you guys maybe on like a beta list or something like that. So once we have, we've already gotten samples, but we're going to get more. And once we get, through, there's some stuff we have to do with the driver and all that fun stuff when you deal with hardware. Yeah, we'll be letting you guys know too. I'm super excited over the printers. I think they're going to be they're going to be a game changer.
Cool.
And also, we won't take proprietary labels. You'll be able to use any labels that you want. So not like the Dymo 450 or 550 plus nonsense. You can use any labels that you like with it.
I see John had asked, is there a roadmap for upcoming features? So I'm pasting a link in the chat right now. We do have a public roadmap showing what's under consideration, what's planned, and some recently launched stuff as well. So you can definitely take a look at that. I think you can also like kind of +1 the ones that you think are really important, and they take that into consideration too. So definitely take a look, everybody. If there's something that you feel should get done sooner than later, give it like a little. I think you rate how critical it is to you, and that helps us kind of base our feedback off of all you guys.
John said $50 for a dad joke. I got to brush up for the next webinar.
Hey, let's see. Not a scanner question for the transfer stock. Is there a way to generate a picking slip? That is a good question. I'm not sure which documents we print with transfers.
I'm also told that the webinar code is not working. Let me double check, Daniel, and I will get that working for you. I'll do that live right now too.
I believe I'm just taking a quick look at stock transfers right now. I believe essentially all the stock transfer does is print out just like what is on there kind of thing. I guess you could use that kind of like a pick list and just have people check them off as they actually receive them or anything. But that is great feedback, and actually I'll take that back and record that and send that off to the team as well, because I could see how that definitely would be useful as well. So thank you. That was from Thelma. Janet had asked again what your email is. It's just matt@inflowinventory.com. So everyone send him lots of emails. Nikki had asked, can I change the pricing markup in one spot, or do I need to change each item individually? So you do need to change each item individually. If you were to do it in like a bulk or a faster way, you can change your markup through a product details import. So if you go to like the menu, export, and you export your product details, you get a CSV file with all of your products, and there will be a whole lot of columns that you can see in Excel. One of them will be the whether it's fixed price or markup kind of thing, and you can actually then change that column in there, and then import that back in, and that would then update them all right away, kind of thing. Basarath, thank you very much. I saw him saying inFlow is the best and easy, so that is wonderful to hear. Amy actually had a good question, or an interesting question here, Matt. I don't know if you have any input, but she's asking, where could they get training for the scanner? So,
Yeah, that's a good question. So
she's saying kind of like step by step.
yeah, so I mean, we have a few. I mean, it's very the training for the scanner is you don't. So it's basically more, I guess, training on the mobile app. So I'd say in the knowledge base, there's a lot of documentation on how to use the mobile app, the features, and that sort of thing. So the scanner part isn't really anything extra. It's basically with the scanner, you just have more options of a dedicated button for picking and a dedicated button to activate a laser to scan. So as long as you go through the training for the mobile app, I think you're in good hands. I don't think there's much more to it than that. Besides, maybe if you're used to iOS and you're not too sure with Android, then that's another question altogether. But yeah, generally speaking, if you can use the app, you can use the scanner, no problem. And quick side note, yeah, so Daniel, I fixed it. You can go ahead and check out. The webinar code is now working, but thank you for letting me know. Yeah, for some reason it wasn't clicking, and for now it is. And there's no taxes. I mean, the taxes are based. If you're in the U.S., there isn't any taxes. You'll see taxes on my screen because I'm based in Canada. We're based in Canada, so we have to charge taxes on orders that come from Canada. But in your case, if in the U.S. or pretty much anywhere around the world, you won't be charged anything extra in terms of taxes.
Cool. I know we have a few more questions. So I did see Michael had said he'd love to integrate shipping into his inFlow process, and that you're using another system for shipping. I don't know if you've had a chance to take a look, Michael. We did recently release an integration with EasyPost, and that essentially is just supposed to be a quicker and easier way that they're almost like a middleman kind of thing, that you add all your shipping accounts to EasyPost, and then inside inFlow, when you are doing a shipping on a sales order, you can, when you hit fulfill, it'll actually come up with a thing asking for all the shipping information. You put that in, and then we'll pull back based off of all the carriers you have listed in EasyPost how much, and you can purchase your label right from there and print it. That'll add the tracking number and stuff into inFlow and everything as well too, and you can have it email your customer and stuff right away. So hopefully it would make those kinds of processes a lot easier and faster. And again, hopefully if we have a cool little shipping label printer in the near future, you can even use that and just print it out right away, and kind of off you go. I see Amy had also asked, on the online version, can inFlow consider adding a longer drop-down list for serial numbers to select from? That's definitely, again, good feedback. I can definitely record that and pass that along to the team. I guess, is it just a matter of that you don't have enough space, or like you're having to scroll through to see a whole bunch of them? Saying currently only 2 serial numbers display in the drop-down list. It should show more than that. I believe it does try to, if you start typing in characters, like, so if if your serial numbers start with like I or something like that, if you type in I, it should show a list of all the ones that start with I for that location and that product. So it may just be a matter of like kind of starting to put in the serial number if you're searching for it. I saw Michael also saying probably a niche issue, but Mac OS support would be great. We're all Mac and have to run Parallels to run the Windows app for functions that aren't supported in the web version. So that is actually a fantastic point, and that's kind of one of our big focuses going forward. The development team is working really hard on making our web app, so the app that you can access through any web browsers, be it Safari, be it Chrome, be it Firefox, anything like that, at app.inflowinventory.com, to add those missing features that we have in the Windows app to that. So that, again, unfortunately, we're not going to release a Mac specific program, but once we have all those features in the web browser, then basically anybody anywhere, whether you're Mac, Windows, Linux, anything like that, Chrome. And then, sorry, I saw then Ashley had been asking if there was a way to filter only available items. That's a good question. I mean, depending on where you're, I guess like what program you're using. If you're in like the Windows app, I know you could go to like the current stock screen and you can sort by quantity, so you can see from what you have, like highest to lowest kind of thing, so you could ignore all the stuff with 0. If you're in a sales order itself, there is no way to ignore I guess like products that you don't have stock of. You'll just have that actual like quantity showing up in the order itself, so that I mean, again, a lot of times you may try and sell something that you don't have and then have to order it in or manufacture it or anything like. Oh, and there you go. Actually, I don't know if that might help, but Bassarath was saying if you save a sales order and reopen it, it will show all unpicked items on the top. So that might be a cool little workaround that I didn't even know off the top of my head. So you can give that a try too. So cool. So I think the questions look like they are slowing down. So Matt, I don't know if you have any final words or.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. And there's the smart scanner in action there. Left side, right side, top, bottom. Yeah, I mean, have fun with it. I feel like we blind yourself with the laser light. But try it out. Love to hear your feedback. And again, email me if anything. I'm happy to help you out. And appreciate everyone that's already played. I saw a few orders come in while we're still on the webinar. Yeah, thanks guys. Appreciate being on here, and I'm looking forward to the next one. This is fun.
Yeah, no, it's definitely always a blast, and yeah, again, if anyone has feedback or anything like that, you can always reach out to us, support@inflowinventory.com. We'd love to hear it. Again, your suggestions and everything helps make the program better. And again, we, as Matt was saying, we had people kind of requesting like printers and labels and stuff, and that kind of kicked off kind of some of that initiative and everything as well too. So we do try and listen to your feedback as much as possible. And again, with the smart scanner and everything, I know we showed it off a bunch here and everything. Try the mobile app first too, like install it on your iPhone, your Android device, something like that, and you can test it out. It won't have obviously the dedicated scanner and everything, but it gives you an idea of what it can actually do for you, and maybe you can start thinking of how it might work in your business. And then yeah, I mean, the smart scanner itself then can just make that a little bit easier. Having that nice dedicated device itself, having the scanner makes it faster, rugged and everything. So again, hopefully, knock on wood, you drop it won't break. So yeah, just something great to keep in mind.
All right.
Well, sometimes, but yeah. So, anyways, that's it from me. But thank you everyone for coming. We do appreciate it, and we appreciate all your participation as well too. It was great having so many questions and comments and everything like that too. So
bring the dad jokes next time. You might get another $50. Who knows?
There you go. Hey,
and start thinking of the dad jokes today, so you'll be good to go.
Yeah, there we go.
I'm not about bad jokes. Either way.
Yeah. Okay, right. Cool.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Bye for now. Bye, Stephen. Bye, everyone else. See ya.